Welcome to countrylifeprojects.com. I'm Henry Reinders. This is video 8 of 15 videos in our shed project. In this video, we're going to be installing the LP smartside panels on the front and back of our shed. We're not going to be doing the sides. That may seem unusual, but if you watch video 11, you'll see why. It makes doing our fascia boards, especially our soffit material, much easier if we do the sides after those are done. So watch video 11 for that. The other reason we're putting the LP smartside panel on first, in video 9, we're going to be building the ladders for our soffit overhang on the front gable and back gable, and it's much easier if you have these panels in place first. So let's get started with our installation of LP smartside panels on the front and back of the shed. We're going to be showing you how to put the smart panel on the two gable ends of your shed. We won't be doing the sides until later. We have to do this first before we can do our ladders for our soffit. Now, to make it easy to measure off, but before you do that, I've got to point out one more thing. To line these up, you have a flange here that's going to get overlapped by the next sheet. What you're lining up with the center of your shed is that line right there to this groove here. So you want to be in the center of this groove with that line. We already have the blocks on the bottom to give us our proper line. Let's make sure that the panel is level. And on the top, let's go back there for a minute, you'll see that we are halfway down the second plate here, or the top plate. That's important because that's going to allow our 1x4 trim to work up on covering the top piece of paneling and this piece here. Now, to make this easy to measure out, all you have to do is put your panel in place, make sure it's snug on the bottom. I've used a clamp on the top here to keep it in place. You just reach around, press against the panel, press it against your framing. Okay, now reaching around on the inside, press up against the framing with your panel, make sure it's in place. It's actually really handy if you have somebody to help press against here for you. Mark your lines off. Do the same thing on the top. Over here, about halfway down. Down the bottom. You'll have your complete cutout there. When you do cut these, cut them a little bit shy, about a 1/4 inch maybe, so they're not going to be sticking past the framing over here or the floor, up from the floor. If you look outside on the corner, press the panel against the corner, a few marks. Here you don't have to worry about cutting back a little bit. Your panel going this way, we'll start right at the edge here. Okay, I showed you how to mark off your panel and pre-cut it. However, there is an easier way, it's actually much more accurate, and that is to actually put your panel in place, nail it down, and then use a router and router out your opening. We have a special bit for that. This is what we call a cutout bit. It's got a little smooth edge roller there, cutting blade there. You just puncture that through your panel and run it around the perimeter of your opening. You can also use, if you have any old laminate trimmer bits that are kind of past any good use, they're not working too well anymore, they're great for that. That's what I like to use. This is a 1/2 inch shank, so it's really strong. So we're going to get the panel nailed on. I'm going to show you that next because we've got to use some glue. Okay, because our smartside panels are only 3/8 of an inch thick and they're made out of OSB, we're also putting them vertically. We want to give them a little bit of extra holding power and stability. We're going to glue all the panels onto the framing. The top of the panel comes halfway up here, so we want to make sure the first bead up here is on the lower part of that, especially if you're not going to be able to get to the upper panels the same day. You don't want that glue drying. Go right to the corner here, about 1 inch in. We do all our studs. Here you can go on that stud, you don't have to be right near the edge. And we have our center line marked out. So We know where to start. I'll do the lower sections. Now down below here, underneath the door, you definitely want to have glue. As I pointed out earlier, we're going to be putting our support for our sill here. So the smart panel has to be glued on quite solidly there. And you want about a 1/4 inch bead, approximately. Okay, that's ready for our panel. I'm going to grab that. Now, before you put your panel in place, don't just lean it right up right away. Get it positioned. Now, I put a couple of marks on here on the very outside when I took it off. As you can see on the top here, it's lining up. We'll just clamp this temporarily. Now, on our panels, our 16-inch center studs, these marks are 16 inches on center. So we know when we nail through, we're going to have a stud. So first thing we're going to do though, is nail down the bottom. If you're going to be using a base plate skirt here, you don't have to worry about hitting the panel. We're going to put a few in for now. I'm going to nail the corner. Again, on the corners here, you don't have to worry about hitting this or hitting the panel. We've got trim going on there. These are 16 inches apart, so you know you'll have a stud right here in the middle. You don't want to nail that all the way in. Just use a nail punch to get it set. Now I'm going to grab a ladder, put a few in the top. And we do have trim going over this as well. So you don't have to worry about using a nail punch there. Do remember, for the most part though, you only have 3/4 of an inch here. You don't want to be too low. When I get off the ladder, I'm going to measure back to where our door opening is. I'll put a couple nails in there, a couple over here, a couple on our tongue, and then we can router out the door. And I'll show you how we do that. It's really easy and very accurate. Okay, we're going to router out the opening now. I'm using an old laminate trimmer bit. You can use a specialized cutout bit, but if you have an old one, go ahead and use it. Make sure you got your safety goggles on, because this gets really dusty. Once you have your piece cut out, just run your router on one more time, just in case it bounced a little bit. That's it. That's all there is to it. Okay, we've routed our outside panel, our door opening. When you get down to the bottom here, though, you may have this occasionally, you're not going to be able to get the router right down to the ground. Just trim that out with a saw, and that's all you have to do. We're going to be putting on our second panel now. This piece here has an overlap that overlaps on the prior piece. What you want to do before we put the glue on is just drop the panel up here. Make sure the space up here and the space down here is equal. It should be. If you took time putting your blocks on earlier, then everything should work out. Of course, your shed should be level and square. So right now we can see that it is. We're going to remove this, we're going to glue it, install it. Once we're done that, we're going to mark off the top pieces on our gable. We'll show you how to do that when we get there. Okay, we're going to start measuring off our end panels on the top here. There's a little technique for that, just to make sure you get it right. We're going to be measuring same side to start with. Our tongue is in behind here, but we're going to be measuring from this edge right here, and that's pretty much center of the shed. I've drawn a line up here. All you got to do is put your level on there, draw down. This is the outside. Then what we're going to do, we're going to measure from here up minus ½ an inch, because we can be down here a bit, doesn't matter, it'll never be seen. We're going to do the same thing over there, measure up to the peak minus ½ an inch. Then we're going to take this measurement across here to determine where that line goes. I'll show you that in the layout. Okay, we're going to lay out the gable end panel, the first one on the left that I just showed you previously. Now when we lay this out, we're going to do dual measurement so that the piece that gets cut off on this side here, because our angle will be going across here, that this piece can be used on the back of the shed on the reverse side gable. So we'll start with the measurements that I have. We have 32 3/4 for the peak. That's actually ½ an inch deducted off of there. Now across from our groove, we have 46 1/4. We're going to bring that up. We're going to be 5 7/8 up. We'll mark that off. Now, if you have a nice straight piece of wood, you can use to mark your line off. Go across to that point. Once you have this marked off, we want to reuse this section here. We're going to do the measurement for the peak on the other side, plus a little bit, just so we have a little bit of extra in case there's some minor differences over there. So I'm going to go 35, and we'll take the total measurement, which is 40 3/4. We'll put that over here. That is going to give us a square base. If we were to cut that first, there's no way we'd be able to measure that, so you need to do that now. And the final measuring of this piece will be done when we're doing the back side. So now we can go ahead, we can get this piece cut. We'll save this piece for the back, and we'll get that piece up, and then we'll measure the second piece. So I'll get that cut now. Okay, our panel is fitted. We're down just a little hair over ½ inch here. We're good on the end here. We're in line here. You'll notice we have a little bit of a peak going past here on the top of the rafter. We'll nip that off before we glue it. Now, this side here, because of our brace, we couldn't mark it off from the back, so we had to measure it. When we do this piece, going to show you a real quick way to mark it off, and it'll be really easy to do. So I'm going to get this glued, nailed on. We'll come back shortly and do that piece. Okay, for this side of our gable peak, we've just cut a piece this distance here, which is 6 inches, plus our peak height, which is 32 3/4. And then what we're going to do, we've just placed it up here, it's square. All you have to do here, once you have all these grooves lined up, just mark off the end of your wall here. On the back, just mark off the back, make sure this is tight. Do the same thing on the peak. We'll bring this down, turn it over, mark our line off minus ½ an inch, and we're done as far as cutting this piece. Okay, that's this piece done on this side. Keep in mind, we do have backing at 16-inch centers here, which are these grooves, both sides. The important thing with this piece here, if you're using the technique of marking it off from the back when you hold the piece up here, just make sure you cut the panel 6 inches longer so that the piece that comes off here can be reused on the back side of the shed. As far as the back side of the shed goes, just repeat the whole process that you've seen here. After that, we're going to go to the next video, and we're going to do the ladders for our overhangs. But for now, we're done here. We'll finish off the back, and we'll get to that video.